last couple of questions. Someone was asking reference, or sorry, book recommendation regarding the uh, books are written. How do we see plurality of God in Old Testament?
How do we see what?
Plurality of Godhead in Old Testament.
Okay, books on that. Yeah, okay. So I've, over the years, a lot of what I will say on the subject, I pulled from just a number of, all kinds of sources, right? Obviously reading the Bible itself, but also reading commentaries, reading books on theology and systematic theology. So you're not going to find a book that discusses all of this in one place, and we'll often have to, grab a number of books. But if I was to give you just a couple of recommendations that I think are really good, one would be Robert Morey's book, which is called The Trinity, Evidence and Issues, right? And he has a very good section there on the Trinity in the Old Testament. I would, there are also great books on the angel of the Lord. Some of these are probably harder to get. But one, actually, it's very useful if you can get this. But there's a scholar by the name of E.W. Hengstenberg. He wrote a 3 volumes, I believe it is, on the Messiah in the Old Testament. And in that, he's dealing mostly with messianic prophecies, but he has a very lengthy section, I think it's about 100 pages, on the angel of the Lord. So those are 2 sources I would recommend. But if you pick up any good book on the Trinity, now here I have to issue a caveat. A lot of Muslims and Unitarians today are able to point to contemporary Christians who will say, oh, you don't find the Trinity in the Old Testament. What a lot of these modern scholars, what a lot of people don't know is that a lot of these modern scholars are very poorly informed when it comes to the Old Testament, but well informed when it comes to the New. So they know the Trinity's in the New Testament, but they just lack a good, sufficient understanding of the Trinity in the Old Testament. The fact is, for 1900 years, the church has always recognized the Trinity in both Testaments, right? The New Testament writers themselves, when they're talking about the Trinity, are pointing to the Old Testament, right? They don't think it's a Unitarian book. They don't think they're introducing a new concept of God. So the contemporary scholars who don't see it there are out of step with 1900 years worth of Christian history and scholarship. So don't fall for that canard that people say, but the fact is, though, that when you pick up a good book on the Trinity, sometimes you won't find an ample section dealing with the Old Testament. That is if you're reading a modern book. But an exception to that is Robert Morey's book, The Trinity, Evidence and Issues, E.W. Hengstenberg's book. There are other good books that touch upon it as well. But a lot of this is found in scattered throughout commentaries, where they're looking at this text and then looking at that text. So it's not very easy to say, in other words, if I told you to pick up I could tell you to pick up a commentary on the Old Testament, that's going to be a commentary on 39 books of the Old Testament. And then you got to go read through. That would be a large project. But another thing you can do, though, is you could go pick up. I spend a lot of time focusing on this in my writings. I have a lot of writings on answering Islam, answeringislam.org. If you look for my section, if you scroll down on answeringislam.org, where it says individual authors in the left-hand column, then you go there and you look for my name. There will be 50 names there, and then it'll have my name as one of them. And you can look. I have numerous articles on the Trinity in the Old Testament. Sam Shamoun, of course, has many articles on the Trinity in the Old Testament. So there's a lot of stuff available online that I would recommend too.
Okay, but I'll like one of the one like in early stages I find helpful was the two powers of heaven. That was helpful to me, but there are lots of articles out there as well.